Good evening. Today is April 1st, 2019. The 33rd meeting of the 23rd Council will come to order. All councilors are present this evening. Next item we have is a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilor Harris. Thank you, Councilor Harris. Civic parking passes are provided for members of the public. You can obtain a parking pass from council staff at the sign-up table. The council will take a break at approximately 7 p.m. this evening if needed. We want tonight's proceedings to be as civil and respectful as possible. Please do not make any personal attacks, and please no applause or other outbursts during the meeting. The meeting will go a lot smoother if we are respectful of one another. We are now on proclamations and presentations. Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. I am proud to have the West Mesa girls basketball team here this evening. They are now state champions. We have their coach, Manny Otero, who is here, and their assistants. I had an opportunity and a chance to watch all three ball games in the state tournament at the pit, and these girls are remarkable. I mean, they should have been back-to-back state champions, but it's tough when you're playing in these games, and the coach has done a remarkable job. I myself am a graduate of West Mesa High School, and West Mesa boys or girls team has never won a state tournament. So I'd like the West Mesa Mustang girls basketball team and their coaches to please come to the podium so we can read this proclamation. And we also have the principal of West Mesa High School, Mark Gonzalez, who is here with the Lady Mustangs. And the three West Side councilors will be reading this proclamation together. Council President Pena.
Thank you. I'll get started. Whereas the West Mesa High School Lady Mustangs basketball team celebrated their first New Mexico AA State 5A Championship on March 16, 2019. And whereas the West Mesa Lady Mustangs basketball team includes seniors Jennifer Martinez, Mariah Rivas, Esperanza Barros, juniors Alicia Barros, Emily Burke, Jasmine Cordova, Lupe Zarate, and Crystal Aspas, sophomore Monique Jackson, and Cici Varela. And whereas the 2018-2019 Lady Mustangs was an experienced team with many of the team playing together since their freshman year and ending the season with an overall record of 28 wins and only 3 losses. And
whereas after a 21-0 run by Hobbs in the first half, the Lady Mustangs answered with a come-from-behind victory over the Eagles in the state tournament final to capture the blue trophy. And whereas earlier in the season, the Lady Mustangs also won their 3rd straight Albuquerque Metro Championship, and whereas the Lady Mustangs are led by head coach Manny Otero, who has won now an NMAA state championship as head coach and a player when he won the state tournament at Albuquerque High, and assistant coaches Lee Barrow and Pat Puentes at West Mesa, and we also have the school principal Mark Garcia, all who gave the team the tools to believe in themselves and play with heart. And
whereas the parents of the Lady Mustangs dedicated time to their daughters' success in basketball and in school, lending to the success of the team, and whereas the West Mesa Lady Mustangs basketball state championship is the first in 50 years, providing that good teamwork and perseverance pays off, be it proclaimed that the council, the governing body of the city of Albuquerque, hereby congratulates the Lady Mustangs for their achievement of 2018-2019 NMAA State 5A champions. So if you'd like to say a few words, someone?
Coach Otero?
First of all, I'd like to thank you for inviting us here. This is a great privilege, a great honor to be here with you, city council members. We're extremely proud of our girls who work so hard, coming a long way from not winning very many games 5 or 6 years ago to becoming state champions. Is a great accomplishment, and it's something that our community, our fans, our parents, and everybody will always remember for the rest of our lives. That's something they can't take away from us, is this championship, and I'm very proud of each and every player, and I'm very thankful for the support that we've been given from the whole city of Albuquerque. Thank you.
Would any one of the players like to say a couple of words? Ladies?
I just want to say thank you for letting us be here. I know that we're all very grateful for this, for us being here. This accomplishment has brought so much opportunities for us, and I know I could say for all of us this has been our dream since we were little, so we're really excited for us to be able to achieve it and have this accomplishment not only for us and our coaches, but especially for all the alumni and all the people supporting us. So just thank you again for having us here, and we hope that we all made you guys proud in the end.
Principal Gonzalez?
I'd like to thank all the city council members for having us here today. I'd like to thank the city of Albuquerque for having us. And I'd like to thank the coaches and athletes for their tremendous tenacity throughout the season. Something I'd like to mention, not only are they outstanding athletes, but their combined GPA is above a 4.0. And I think they really need to be commended on that. Thank you.
And let me say one more thing. I think one of your players, Ms. Varos, is going to be playing for West Point and going to Army. And we've also got Ms. Rivas, who's going to be playing, I think, for Highland University. Congratulations, ladies. We'd like you to come up.
Before I ask you to come up, I just want to say that I'm really proud of you. I went to Rio Grande High School, but all my kids went to West Mesa, and 2 of my daughters played West Mesa for the basketball team. And you know, I know that you girls, it's a challenge. There's a lot of girls out there taller than you, but I know that the West Mesa girls play with heart, and they, you know, they're always in it till the end. So you guys did an amazing job. So congratulations. And if you want to come up to the front to accept your proclamation, just make your way this way.
And I apologize to the principal, Mr. Garcia. I called him Gonzalez. I've known him forever, but I've always called him Mark.
Okay, so now we have another exciting announcement. We have the Atrisco Heritage Boys Varsity Basketball Team. Are you gentlemen here this evening? Why don't you make your way to the front so that we can read this proclamation. So, you know, West Side is a good place to live in Albuquerque this year for high school, huh? So I just want to congratulate you, and I know we're going to be doing another proclamation because I think you guys have in your dance team who also made the state champs, so they'll be here probably at next meeting. But I want to, Counselor Sanchez?
And before we proceed, these individuals are back-to-back champions.
Yes, yes.
Oh, wow.
So well, with that, we'll get started in reading the proclamation. I think Counselor Borrego starts first, followed by Counselor Sanchez.
And I am delighted to start this proclamation. Whereas on March 16, 2019, the Etrisco Heritage Academy Jaguars varsity basketball team defended their state title by winning the 2019 NMAA Class 5A Boys Basketball State Championship at the Dream Style Arena at the Pit. And whereas the Jaguars are the first team in 9 years in New Mexico's largest classification to win a back-to-back state championship title with a score of 61-58 against the Santa Fe Demons. And
Whereas the 14 Jaguar varsity basketball state champs are Zach, Isaiah, DeMarcus, Josiah, Abram, Dominic, Xavier, Elijah, Christopher, DJ Ornales, Malaki Hernandez, Crawford, Marcus Crawford, Colby, Dion Padilla, and whereas the principal Irene Cisneros, head basketball coach Adrian Ortega, assistant coach Daniel Leyba, assistant coach Adrian Ortega Jr., assistant coach Corbin Waki, assistant coach Chris Parra, and team manager Jennifer Hernandez, Sabrina Trujillo, Christian Macias, Sabrino Flores were instrumental in leading the state champs to another victory for the Jaguar Nation. And
be it proclaimed that the council, the governing body of the city of Albuquerque, hereby congratulates the Trisco Heritage Academy Jaguars varsity basketball team for defending their state championship title and for being the undefeated state champs back-to-back. Did you want to say a few words?
Well, thank you all for having us. We're very honored to be here to represent our community. You know, we have 3 pillars in our philosophy that include academics, character development, and competitiveness. And these boys met all 3 pillars. You're looking at young men that will be productive members of society, which is our ultimate goal here in raising these kids. And I got to thank their parents for doing things the right way. But we're extremely honored, and we're very, very proud of the accomplishments of these young men today.
We just want to say we're very privileged and honored to be here. We thank you guys for, allowing us to come down here. I know when I speak for the team, coming up this year was very nerve-wracking, being defending state champs. But we held that to our heart, knowing that we're defending the state championship. We just want to thank you guys for your support and for being there and watching us take another ring and another victory. We just want to thank you guys for being there.
Anyone else? Here's your opportunity. Anyone else? Well, again, we want to congratulate you, and I just want to say that we have one proclamation here, but my analyst will get some copies for each of the players. Unfortunately, we just don't have it right now. And I just wanted to say, and I know the West Mesa girls basketball team just left, but we partnered with the commissioner's office, and we were really happy and excited with everything that's happening on the west side in terms of our athletics with both Etrisco Heritage and West Mesa, that we actually produced a banner, and I hope you guys had an opportunity to see it. So we just wanted to show you our appreciation. So thank you. If you want to come up and, go ahead.
I also wanted to congratulate our girl dance team. They also took state this Saturday in the 5A division. They won by 0.7 of a point over Roswell. So our school's very excited.
Yeah, we just received notification. That's what I was saying earlier. We're going to have another one in a couple of weeks. So if you'll come up, thank you. Congratulations again, young men. And then next, we actually have a proclamation for the Albuquerque Police Department Problem Response Team. If you guys can make your way to the front, I would appreciate it. Do we have Deputy Chief Medina here as well, too? Oh, yeah, there he is, coming down in the back. I just want to say before I start reading this proclamation that, you know, we've been meeting with Sergeant Littleton for quite some time now, and Deputy Chief Medina. You know, there's some potential. We have the Verizon building that, you know, is going to be empty here pretty soon, and we're trying to make sure that we can get a good tenant in there. And just looking at the area, we decided that we had to put some additional attention and focus on the area. And you know, Deputy Chief Medina, he was our commander a few years back, and we really worked really hard to create this community-based approach in terms of really looking at it from addressing the needs from the community instead of really attacking it as just a crime problem. So through this dialogue, the chief met with, you know, the mayor and all the other powers that be and the chief, and really came up with this concept of this problem response team and how to effectively address some of the areas that we have. I know we've identified some boundaries, but within those boundaries, we decided to target a specific area initially. And I just want to say that you guys have just been spectacular. With the decrease in crime there at Coors and Central, it's just been amazing how you've been able to really just look at a problem and solve it from so many aspects, and partnering with many departments to get this done. Well, when I read the proclamation, we'll talk about some of the statistics, but you guys have really done an amazing job. So. Whereas since its unveiling on February 12, 2019, the APD Problem Response Team from the Southwest Area Command have worked diligently to address crime in a targeted area along West Central Corridor and launched the initiative at the Coors Boulevard and Central Avenue. And whereas the community-based policing model concentrates efforts on outreach and is afforded potential offenders with resources and services to help address issues they are currently experiencing. And whereas by partnering with local community-based organizations, various law enforcement departments, the fire department, the city of Albuquerque and Bernalillo County, and creating the West Central Safety Center, the problem response team has been able to effectively assist those in need by providing food items, clothing, housing vouchers, bus passes, employment and education opportunities. And whereas with the leadership of Deputy Chief Harold Medina, Acting Commander Timothy Espinosa, Lieutenant Lena Dayap, the problem response team members Sergeant Larry Middleton, Officer Stella Candelaria, Officer Christopher Harp, have exemplified how this proactive approach can significantly reduce calls for service from areas of focus. And whereas all calls for service at the Coors and Central Corridor are down 27% from last year, and those calls, 37% were for officer-driven. And whereas last year at this time there were 438 calls for service, and this year the number has decreased to 228, which brings the overall number of calls for service from the community down 52%. And whereas the problem response team went above and beyond the call of duty by hosting their first ever Public Safety Day event on Saturday, March 23rd, and whereas their event was well attended and extremely successful in helping to build the ties by working closely with members of the community. Be it proclaimed that the council, the governing body of the city of Albuquerque, hereby commends the APD Problem Response Team for their efforts in creating a thriving and safe commercial area for patrons within the West Central Corridor. Congratulations, thank you guys. I know you guys are tired of hearing from me, but you guys have really done an outstanding job, and working with the community means so much. So I don't know if any of you want to say anything, Chief?
Madam President, members of council, I'd just like to personally thank you for your support this past year and patience with us as a police department. Our city has seen a higher level of crime than any of us would like to see, but in the past year, we've slowly reduced that number by working with the community. This is just one of 6 teams that we're looking to implement in the city. Each area command is going to have one of these type of teams to help them address those quality of life issues. And as resources become available, we'll continue to devote them to the streets to have our officers help them generate those long-term relationships with the community. So once again, thank you for your support, and I'm very thankful to the hard work that the officers put forward, because it's easy for us to make decisions up on the 5th floor and start programs, but it's the everyday boots on the ground that give these programs their value and help us create that bond of trust and get the support from the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam President. Let me just begin by saying that this program has been remarkable. This is community-based policing at its best. And I've had people come into my office and say, you know, we feel much safer going to work at Albertsons, at Walgreens. This team that is working out there has made a big difference. And the best part of it is you're not just going out to arrest people, you're also trying to help and assist some of these individuals that are down and out that need some assistance. But this program has been a great success, and as we grow our police department, hopefully we will see more and more of this in the future. But thank you for all your work.
Commander. I want all of you to say something, because you really all deserve credit individually.
Madam President, Council, I just want to say thank you on behalf of the officers for recognizing the work that they've been putting in over the last few months. One other officer who was a part of this who couldn't be here today was Cornell Heitzman. He was part of it for the first month, so I just want to make sure that he's recognized publicly as well. But I can't say enough. I'm humbled by the work and the things that these officers do, and Sergeant Middleton and Lieutenant Diap. I couldn't be happier. They make my job so much more easier, and it just makes me look good. But on a day-to-day basis, they're out there, and my dream is for this to be something that's sustainable long after we're here, and we develop the culture of community policing and across the whole city, not just the Southwest Area Command. And I think this is just the tip of the iceberg of what is to come for the Albuquerque Police Department, especially my area command. Thank you.
I just wanted to say thank you for recognizing the hard work that these officers have been doing. To go along with the commander, it's very humbling to see these officers work hard every day that they come into work. So thank you for all your hard work.
Sergeant Middleton.
Afternoon.
Start the timer.
First, I just wanted to say thank you very much to the City Council. Anybody who has had a chance to meet me or my officers will know that we have a passion for this. And we have a passion because we work for our community, and this gives us a chance to prove to that. And the stats really don't mean anything to me. What it means is if you go talk to any community member at Corzine Central, they can name all of us by first name. They have all of our numbers, they call us, and that's what community policing is about, and we hope to expand that to the entire city, because you should know our officers by name. We should be, you know, officer friendly because we're out there to help you. And if they're doing something that deserves that they have to go to jail or something like that, that's our job, is to stop and prevent crime. But more than anything, please do me a favor, go to Corzine Central and talk to the members there, and this will be, I can guarantee you that they will be knowing all of us by name, because that's the work that these two officers have been doing, and Officer Heitzman. So thank you so much for the opportunity for this for them. I don't think they're going to want to speak, but maybe they can just say thank you, because it is a little nerve-wracking up here. But thank you very much, and I honestly, from the bottom of my heart, my family and I thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Stella? See, she's going to speak.
I'll be
See how you
brief.
are.
I know he's kind of long-winded. I really appreciate the support. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. And it's awesome to have the support from you guys, because it makes us want to do our job not extremely well, just a lot more just be out there in the presence for the community. So thank you.
Thank you. Officer Hart.
Just want to reiterate the same thing. Thank you, guys. Just want to, that we have this opportunity to show that just me and one other officer and a sergeant doing proactive policing at the patrol level can really make a difference in our community.
Thank you. And, you know, replicating this throughout the city, I know the mayor wants to do that. I think it's just really important. It's key to making Albuquerque a safer place to live. Councilor Borrego.
I just want to thank each and every one of you. You know, it's really important to reinforce to the public that you all are just city employees, and, you know, our state, city, county employees. At the end of in the morning, you get up, put your pants on the same way we all do, and at night you go home to your families. And it's so important for people to remember that you're officers, yes, but you're also people, and you're part of our city family. So thank you all for everything that you do.
Thank you. Come up and get the proclamation. Councillor Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. The next proclamation is recognizing Lakshay Sood for his 5th win in the National Geography B. He is joined by his parents this evening, Akshay and Vinita Sood. Come on up. His sister, Varen. And his teacher, who doesn't want to be recognized, Mrs. Leiden. So the proclamation reads, oh, Lakshay is also, and the family are also very important to me. They're my next door neighbors, so thank you. Whereas Lakshay Sood is a diligent student currently attending the Albuquerque Academy in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and whereas Lakshay Sood won the State of New Mexico National Geographic Society B competition in Albuquerque on March 29th, 2019, and whereas Lakshay Sood has won the State of New Mexico National Geographic Society B competition in Albuquerque for 5 years in a row since 2015. First time ever that has happened in New Mexico. Whereas Lakshay Sood first won the State of Lakshay Sood first won the State of New Mexico National Geographic Society B competition in Albuquerque on March 27, 2015, becoming the youngest New Mexico state champion. And whereas Lakshay Sood proudly represented the city of Albuquerque and the state of New Mexico in the National Geographic Society B competition the last 5 years in Washington, D.C., becoming the youngest state representative at the national event, and the only state representative in the United States to represent his state 5 times at the national competition. Good work, Lakshay. Be it proclaimed by the council, the governing body of the city of Albuquerque hereby acknowledges the efforts demonstrated by Lakshay Sood and applauds his academic excellence and efforts to promote learning in geography in the state of New Mexico. Thank you. And Lakshay, would you like to say something?
I'm very humbled to be here, and I'd like to thank Councillor Jones for coming and attending the competition last Friday. It meant a lot to me for your presence there. But I also think geography is just more than looking than a map. It's about the Earth, the Earth's systems and how different cultures connect with each other. And I think geography is important for every student in New Mexico to learn, because we can appreciate more, appreciate our community better.
Thank you, Lakshay. And for those of you who have never attended this type of thing, it is unbelievably complicated. Unbelievably. And Lakshay is a hero. So thank you very much. And if you'd like to come up, we would like to give you this proclamation.
What a great evening. Councilor Borrego.
Thank you, Madam President. The next proclamation is for Cesar Estrada Chavez and Dolores Huerta. And we have representatives, Idalia Lechuga, and could you introduce everyone, please? Just introduce everyone.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the committee. My name is Idalia Lechuga Tena. I am part of the Recuerda Cesar Chavez Committee. And we're here with co-chair Coralie Chavez, which she'll say a few words too. And but I want to thank Councilor Borrego for representing the city on Saturday for and presenting the proclamation along with Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham, Congresswoman Deborah Holland, Dolores Huerta, Mexican consul. And I hope next year you can all join us. It's going to be always the last Saturday in March of every year, so mark your calendars. Thank you, Madam Chair, and I will let the...
We're going to read the proclamation.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
I'll get started. Whereas Cesar Estrada Chavez was an immigrant farm worker during the Great Depression and experienced harsh working conditions faced by many agricultural workers, and whereas in 1962, Cesar Estrada Chavez and Dolores Huerta co-founded the National Farm Workers Association, later called the United Farm Workers Union, dedicated to improving social and economic conditions of farm workers at that time living in poverty. And
whereas Cesar Estrada Chavez and Dolores Huerta dedicated their lives to empowering working class populations towards political activism through the pursuit of equity, justice, and dignity for all Americans. And whereas Cesar Estrada Chavez and Dolores Huerta advocated for migrant workers without U.S. citizenships to receive better working conditions and to provide driving tests and ballots in English and Spanish. And
whereas on June 4th, 1975, California Governor Jerry Brown signed into law the California Agricultural Labor Relations Act, establishing collective bargaining for farm workers in response to the organizing efforts of the National Farm Workers Association. And whereas Cesar Estrada Chavez left behind a legacy of humble grassroots service, resulting in extraordinarily broad-based and local agricultural support championed by the slogan, "Si se puede," yes, it can be done.
And whereas in 1994, Cesar Estrada Chavez was awarded the Medal of Freedom, America's highest civilian honor, and numerous streets, parks, libraries, university buildings, and schools in our United States are named after him. And whereas after Cesar Chavez passed, local community members established the Recuerda a Cesar Chavez Committee, whose mission it is to educate youth and communities about the legacy, life, and work of the great civil rights leader, and to encourage each of us to carry on his values and timeless mission for a better world.
Be it proclaimed that the council, the governing body of the city of Albuquerque, hereby recognizes March 30th, 2019 as Cesar Chavez Day and honors the critical contributions of Cesar Estrada Chavez and Dolores Huerta toward the advancement of labor and social justice in the United States. Would you like to say something?
Yes, Madam Chair and City Councilman, my name is Valerie St. John. I'm Dolores Huerta's cousin. And I can't express how I feel that my city council is recognizing my cousin, civil rights leader, Dolores Huertas. And I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for this proclamation for her. Once again, thank you.
My name is Linda Benavides. I'm also a member of the Committee for Recuerda Cesar Chavez, but I'm also Dolores Huerta's cousin and also related to her. And again, from the bottom of our heart, it's very, very humbling and such a warm feeling to know that all of you have recognized someone like her, someone that is so special. And even being related to her, I have to tell you that every time I see her, I'm just in total awe with her. I sit and I talk with her, and she's just an amazing woman. So thank you very much for what you've done.
Madam Chair.
Councilor Benton.
Oh, please, you proceed first.
Thank you. Madam President Clarissa Peña, I am so grateful to you for including us in your budget last fall, and I am so grateful, fellow counselors, for your support across the board. I cannot tell you how it felt to see you, Councilor Borrego, alongside with so much of the female leadership of our state at this event. I'm so grateful to Mayor Keller and First Lady Keller for their participation in this event. It was overwhelmingly successful, the largest crowd we've ever had. And I can honestly say this is the first time that Dolores Huerta has attended the APS 10th, it's the 10th annual Day of Service and Learning, where we took 219 school children out to Sanchez Farms, to Bernalillo County Open Space, to learn about farm work. They planted the seeds, so go on out to the county, to Sanchez Farms, and see all the work that the kids did. They planted trees, learned a lot of history, learned about water, acequia, solar ovens. It was an amazing day, and we were so honored, and I just want to thank you, the City Council, for funding this event, and we look forward to many successful events in the future.
Thank you. Councilor Benton.
I just want to thank you for your organizing efforts, and I wasn't up on the big stage, but I was in the march.
We saw you. We saw you.
But, and I enjoyed marching with El Centro de Igualdad y Derechos, which is an immigrant advocacy organization that does wonderful work and has some work ahead of it right now with what we're facing on the border, and we as a community have some work to take on there, and I'm sure that that both Cesar and Dolores would agree that that's the case. So, but we have supported this. The council over the years supported the event, and I think it should be a permanent part of the budget as far as I'm concerned from now on. But thanks for all you've done, and Valerie, I had no idea, but now I'm one step closer to fame that I know you. So.
Thank you, ladies. Come up and receive your proclamation. So next we have a presentation from Christine Broner, City Economist, regarding the latest GRT report.
Madam President, members of the council, Christine Broner, City Economist. You should have a one-page handout, 2 sides. I gave away my copy of yours. So we'll start with the GRT side of it. For the most recent tax revenue distribution to Albuquerque received March 19, we saw a respectable 3% growth over the same month last year. Cumulative growth for the year is sitting at 2.6%, which is trending above the forecasted rate for fiscal year 19, which is about 2.2 to 2.3%. Since September of last year, Albuquerque GRT has averaged close to 3.3% cumulative growth. Construction was forecasted to be somewhat of a drag in FY19, and it has been. However, it has improved somewhat from earlier in the year. The high-wage professional, scientific, and technical services sector showed strong growth this month at 14.3%, boosting cumulative growth for that sector to 6.1%. In general, over the past few quarters, we are seeing growth in more diverse set of sectors than we have in the past. Revenue outlook for fiscal year 2020, of course, will be discussed as we enter discussions about the proposed budget for 2020. However, I'll note now that the base growth rate for fiscal year 2020 is estimated to be higher than in 19, closer to 3.6%. And that's not counting the additional revenue we're hoping to see as a result of legislation that was passed just this past month at the state. If you'll turn over to look at the employment side of your handout, Albuquerque's unemployment rate for January 19 was 5.1%. That's up slightly from December's rate of 4.4. However, it is likely that the U.S. federal government shutdown is impacting this particular report. Nevertheless, or maybe consequently, Albuquerque still gained 500 jobs over this time last year. Finally, looking at similar-sized metro statistical areas, Albuquerque continues to track even closer with its peers, Tucson, Colorado Springs, and El Paso, with respect to percent change in employment. And that concludes my few remarks. I could take a quick question.
No questions? Councillor Gibson,
Thank you,
followed by Councillor Sanchez.
Madam Chair, thank you. So I'm looking at the monthly percent change for construction. That seems to be the biggest sector that's dropped, the 9.3. Do you have any ideas what may have caused that?
Yeah, Madam President, member, we had higher growth in construction last year. We had the art construction project and others. So by comparing it to this time last year, it is a lower amount. However, over time, we've seen we've just been struggling in the construction sector, and even though it's negative, I need to point out that it's far less negative than it had been, right? It's improving, it's just that we're still, it's not as slow as it had been. It's improving, if that makes sense.
So it's less bad than when it was really bad.
Councillor Gibson, that's correct.
Thank you.
And we're expecting to see improvement in the coming year. Mm-hmm.
Councillor Sanchez.
Yes, my question is in regards to the projected revenues at 2.2%. You said we're modeling right around 2.6% now, which is 0.4% above what we had projected. In terms of dollars, how much is that? About 1.4 million?
Madam President, member, I think I'd be happy to talk offline or get back to you with that rather than estimating right off the top of my head what that would be.
Okay, thank you.
No other questions? Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Next, we have economic development discussion. There's none. Item 5, administration question and answer period. Councillor, are there any questions for the administration? Councillor Borrego.
Thank you, Madam President. I was watching the news recently on Channel 7, and there was a story about public safety tax, and it also sort of meshed together the question of Topgolf and LEDA funds and how they're used and the accountability, and council seems not to know what how they're being spent, and I'd kind of like to hear from the administration because it seemed like they were combining funding sources that probably don't relate to each other.
Ms. Nair.
Thank you, Council President Pena. Councilor Borrego, thanks for giving us an opportunity to clarify it because that story was pretty misleading. You receive a quarterly report on the 3/8 hold harmless tax, which the council asked for 60% of which to be dedicated to public safety. And I'm going to invite our city accountant, Pam Finelli, to come down and talk about the numerical details. But the bottom line is that we're spending way more than 60% on public safety. So when Pam gets down here.
Madam President, I'll take any questions that you have. Sure. So the 3/8 tax for the second quarter of, which ended December 2018, we did track the amount of revenue that we've received from the quarter-cent tax. And since we started the tax, we did receive approximately 18 million through December in the 3/8 tax. And then we looked at the actual expenditures versus budgeted expenditures and then compared those to the amounts that we used in the justification. So there's, in the report that was given, there's detailed, and there's 15 line items that identify the actual expenditures versus the budgeted and then the justification. In total, the city did spend approximately 81.8% of the expenditures on public safety. And we do have backup, and if you have any questions, I'll answer those questions.
I guess, and a follow-up question is, the story seemed to combine the public safety tax and the LEDA funds, which are two completely different types of funding sources. And I just, for the public's benefit, I just wanted to clarify those two types of
Thank you,
funds.
Council President Pena, Councilor Borrego. So our LEDA funding comes out, has historically come from the EDACT fund, which is money that was returned from companies that may have gotten funding in the past and had to pay back clawbacks. So there is no reason to connect those two issues.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions? No? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Seeing no other questions for the administration, we'll move on to item 6, the journal. Councilor Borrego.
I move approval of the March 18th journal.
There's a motion and a second for approval of the journal. All those in favor say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilor Borrego.
I move approval of the March 21st journal.
There's a motion and a second for approval of the March 21st journal. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next, we are on item 7, communications and introductions. Are there any changes to the letter of introduction? I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of placing EC 358 on tonight's agenda for final action. EC 358 is approving the agreement between the Albuquerque Fire Rescue and Albuquerque Ambulance Service for the provision of ambulance services. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of placing EC 359 on tonight's agenda for final action. EC 359 is approval of the second supplemental agreement to add general fund monies to the FY19 social service contract with Youth Development Incorporated for job training stipends for high school students enrolled in the Job Mentor Program. Before we vote on this, well, is there a motion and a second? Motion, okay. We have someone signed up to speak, and that is Cristela Ciarza.
Yes, Madam President?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that the public comment, the motion you're making is just so that we can place it on tonight's agenda, and the public
Oh,
comment.
so we're not going to, okay,
She can wait.
sorry.
If she can wait until the item comes up on the agenda for
Oh,
action.
okay, I'm sorry. It
Thank
just
you.
says consent agenda EC. Okay, sorry. Thank you. Apologize for that. So all those in favor of EC 359, say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of placing EC 360 on tonight's agenda for final action. EC 360 is approval of a contract amendment for Peter Winograd, PhD. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion and second. All those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing R 138 and referring it to the Committee of the Whole. R 138 is appropriating funds for operating the government of the City of Albuquerque for fiscal year 2020, beginning July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020, adjusting fiscal year 2019 appropriations and appropriating capital funds.
Second. There's a motion and second for R 138. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Counselor Jones.
Move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing R 139 and referring it to the Committee of the Whole. R 139 is establishing one-year objectives for the City of Albuquerque in fiscal year 2020 to meet 5-year goals.
There's a motion and second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Counselor Jones.
Thank you, Madam President. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing R 140 and referring it to the Committee of the Whole. R 140 is establishing the City of Albuquerque's administration of the Group Self-Insurance Fund for providing medical coverage for employees and of the participating entities, creating a new Group Self-Insurance Fund 710 in fiscal year 2020.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Counselor Jones.
I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing O55 and referring it to the Committee of the Whole. O55 is amending the municipal solid waste landfill tire disposal fee.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing O56 and referring it to the Finance and Government Operations Committee. O56 is amending Article 12, Section 2, 3, 5, 8, and 13 of the City Charter and amending Articles 12, Section 4 of the City Charter. Is there a second? There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes. I move that the rules be suspended for the purpose of introducing O57 and referring it to the Finance and Government Operations Committee. O57 is amending the lobbyist and lobbyist organization registration disclosure ordinance at sections 232, 233, 234, 235, and 237. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes. Councilor Borrego.
I move approval of the letter of introduction.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next item is 8, reports of committee. There are none. Next is deferrals and withdrawals. Councilors, are there any deferrals or withdrawals at this time?
Madam President.
Councilor Davis.
We received disappointing news from the Citizen Stamp Advisory Commission this afternoon that they were going to pass on our Balloon Fiesta proposal, so we'll move to withdraw item M5 from tonight's agenda.
There's we don't have to vote on a withdrawal, do we? Do we vote on a withdrawal?
Madam President, yes, it's within the
Okay.
council's hold right now, so you would need to approve that withdrawal.
Okay, there's a motion and a second to withdraw M5. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. So EC 345, Mayor's appointment of Waylon Chavez to the Urban Enhancement Trust Fund. I move deferral until the can I actually move that to the May because May 6th? I move deferral until May 6th. There's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. EC 355, Mayor's appointment of Jane Volkmer to the Americans with Disabilities Act Advisory Council. I move deferral until April 15th.
Second.
There's a motion and a second for deferral. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Deferral and withdrawals from final actions. RA2, amending the City Council Rules of Procedure, Article 3, Section 23, relating to the allocation of council expenses. I move deferral until May 6th. There's a motion, second for deferral. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. That is it. So we are now on item 9, the consent agenda. Are there any changes to the consent agenda? For the individuals on tonight's consent agenda who are being appointed to serve on a board or commission, please stand up if you are in the audience. Thank you for your willingness to serve. Is that just the one? I thought there was more. Well, thank you for your willingness to serve. So, Councillor. Councillor Borrego.
I move approval of the consent agenda.
Madam President, I'm sorry to interrupt again. We do have one public commenter for the consent agenda before you vote on it.
Oh, and this is where I take the, okay. Cristela Ciarza.
Councilor, or Madam President and councilors, thank you very much for the opportunity to speak today. I promise this time it's not going to be about kickball fields with Dave Simon in the room. I wanted to draw to your attention to EC 19339, the Small Business Regulatory Advisory Board quarterly report. Should be FY18, second and third quarter report and recommendations. I wanted to thank the previous committee that reviewed this specific piece of a recommendation. I'm here on behalf of the Small Business Regulatory and Advisory Board as the chairwoman, and most importantly, we are an organization that is, or we are a board appointed by the mayor, and according to the city ordinance O-2010-023, I've met with a majority of you, but if not, I haven't had the opportunity to. Our goal as a board and commission is to make sure any type of ordinances are pro-business or are not preventing any type of issues when it comes to conducting business in the city of Albuquerque. Some of the things that are currently on our agenda that is not reported on this SBRAC report includes paid sick leave. We will be coming to a decision as a committee within the next 2 weeks. We thank also other departments such as city planning as well as the city fire department for coming to us and asking for our recommendations as business owners. And to the councilors that I've met with, thank you very much for your time and also understanding that we hope that the city of Albuquerque is a great place to do business. So I stand for any questions for the remaining time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So there was a motion and a second, correct?
I made a motion, Madam Chair. I don't know if there was a second.
I'll second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. We are now on item 10, general public comments. There will be a 2-minute time limit. The light on the podium will be green for the first minute and a half. Then the light will turn yellow and the bell will ring indicating you have 30 seconds remaining to wrap up your comments. At 2 minutes, the light will turn red and ring to indicate your time is up. Our first speaker this evening is Dana White Horn Humphreys, followed by Eric Schultz, followed by Mark Burton. If you'll make your way to the front, there's some seating available.
All right. I am a resident of District 7. In 1966, my family purchased a home that is adjacent to an alley. That alley runs from Carlisle to Wyoming. Recently, well, I've had refrigerators, dishwashers, tables, chairs, sofas, and most recently, 23 tires and a tree dumped in my alley. I understand that I am responsible for my half of the alley, keeping it free from weeds and litter. However, this is dumping. This isn't litter. Litter is a cup flying into my yard from Chipotle. This is dumping. I think this is an undue burden to expect a single person who's pushing 60 to remove 23 tires and have to pay more money for the tire disposal fee. It's undue burden. Councilwoman Gibson, I'm given to understand that from code enforcement, that you are responsible for a large portion of this city ordinance 9-8-1. The vagueness of the language is, as to definition of litter, is so broad that a refrigerator is considered litter for which I am responsible for its removal. This is ridiculous. A refrigerator is dumping. It's not litter. I do need to get some clarification. It used to be that I was able to call solid waste and get someone at solid waste instead of be shunted to 311 and have nothing occur to resolve the situation. And they would come and remove the refrigerator. That is not the case any longer. In fact, I was actually cited or given a notice to remove a mattress after I had been in a motorcycle accident and broke 12 bones. It's not my mattress, and I certainly don't permit people to throw trash in the alley.
Thank you. Counselor, if you don't mind, Counselor Gibson, since it's in her district, and then followed by Counselor Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. So thanks for coming down. And you bring up some really, real issues that I don't think that we've dealt with very well. We have these alleys throughout parts of the city that, served a purpose when they went in, but they don't anymore. And I don't think it's only Albuquerque. I'm sure other cities
If you'd like to issue a quitclaim deed so I can section off my part of the alley, I'm happy to entertain that.
Well, there are times when the city has vacated pieces of alley or alleys, but I'm not sure, and maybe that's what you really want to do, but that really could create more problems for you than solve them.
I'm being facetious.
So what I would prefer to do, and you and I have talked, right, or emailed anyway?
No.
We haven't?
No, we have not.
I thought I recognized your name. I'm sorry. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It's a pretty recognizable name.
Well, I talked with somebody recently about alleys, and I thought their last name was White. Anyway, if you wouldn't mind giving your name and phone number or email, and we will follow up with you and see what we
All right,
what we
I did
can do.
leave a message for your analyst today, but did not
Okay.
receive.
All right, then we have it.
Okay.
And we'll get back to you. And Director, did you have something to add to this?
Yeah, David Campbell, I'm the planning director, and we have code enforcement. I'd like to give you my card and have you give us a call in the morning, and we can see what we can do
Okay,
about that.
22 of those tires were removed, but the tree and one tire is still there. So I will.
We'll get to work on it.
Okay, thank you very kindly.
Thank you, Counselor Harris.
Oh, I think they covered it. I know that the city does have some discretion if it's like an unusual situation to go clean stuff up. And I think the solid waste department in the past has been responsive. Sounds like they were.
They were, and now it just goes straight to code enforcement.
And one thing, the long term, I believe, and again, I might be speaking a little bit off the cuff without knowing everything exactly, but I think in order to vacate an alley, I think you need the permission of everybody on the alley.
On the alley, I'm aware. As I said,
Okay.
I was being facetious.
Okay. Well, that might
This
not
has
be-
been a problem since 1966. I've
Okay.
had gunfire exchanged in that alley, and I'm really protective of it. It's my alley. Don't be dropping boxes of kittens in my alley. So I would like to be able to reach out to someone at the time of an incident and have it resolved, instead of, getting a referral number from 311 and code enforcement telling me that, well, the language is so vague.
So we will work with you. We'll find a solution.
Okay, thank you.
To
I
help you through
appreciate that.
this. This is, I don't know if you've contacted us before, but usually we're pretty
No, I
pretty
just usually
responsive.
went straight to solid waste.
Okay, well, we'll help you out, okay?
Thank you. I do appreciate that.
Sure, thanks for coming down.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz, followed by Mark Burton.
Hi. A neighbor that complains to zoning constantly about me. And when zoning comes out, they write just me. On December 24th last year, Mom fell and broke C2 in her neck, and I've been busy taking care of her, and somebody complained about a container that I have on Indian School. It's in violation. I'll get it moved. The press secretary for planning was on 77 KOB on March 20th, and I called in to speak to her, and they said that they had a call waiting for her, and they talked for an hour and never took my call. So the next day I called, and I expressed my frustration with her, which upset her. She sent out a zoning inspector who wrote up 3 of my houses on that street. There are other houses on that street that are in just as bad a shape, if not worse. They weren't written up. The 14th Amendment to the Constitution gives me equal treatment under the law. Zoning coming out and being used as a weapon to harass one citizen is a violation of the 14th Amendment. If you're going to write, you need to write every violation on the street. You've all been sent these pictures. They're on your laptops. There are 70 homes in violation on 3 streets. I went to the street east and the street west. I'm going to go through the entire neighborhood and I'm going to mark every house that's in violation. There's 649 homes. I'm sure it will be more than 50%. This constant, never-ending harassment needs to end. I'm in violation. I will get it fixed. But when you come out and you write me for a car, and I got a neighbor that's had one sit in his yard for 15 years on blocks. I've got neighbors with weeds this high, but they write me. The city of Albuquerque can't keep up with the weeds. Drive down any major street and look. Candelaria from Wyoming up, the median is covered. Los Altos Golf Course on the east end, covered with weeds. If you can't do it, why am I required to?
Thank you, sir. Our next speaker,
And-
Councilor Harris.
Well, actually,
Councilor Harris.
I would like a list of what that guy wrote on the 21st of March. I've asked for it. I want to see what houses he wrote. I know he didn't write any on my street because I've asked the neighbors.
okay.
Councilor Harris.
So, and this isn't a question, but there's something called a Public Information Act request. You could probably file one. But what I was going to say is that just for anybody who might be listening, we do have a mediation program, I believe, through the city attorney's office. So you could probably get with the city attorney, and they'll get with your neighbor, and maybe they can work this out because. And I don't believe the planning department, but Mr. Campbell's here. He could probably sit with some of his staff and sort this out. We're not, you know, the city is not required to. Sir, this is not a question.
I've dealt with the city for
Sir,
years. They
sir,
do
okay,
not
never
work
mind.
on
Thank you,
Never
sir.
mind.
We have the councilor
They're
speaking right
very,
now.
very difficult to deal with.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, never mind. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mark Burton. Followed by Rudolph Serrano, followed by Don Schrader.
Madam President, my name is Mark Burton, Southeast Albuquerque Neighborhood Enrichment Coalition. Certain protesters here tonight have demonstrated
Excuse me,
repeatedly their
Madam
willing-
President, is this relating to the appeal?
It's just about protesting.
Okay, it has nothing to do with the appeal tonight?
Right.
Okay.
Certain protesters here tonight have demonstrated repeatedly their willingness to break the rules. I received a letter stating there shall be no public input on certain issues. I only ask the council to remind the protesters of this rule during public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Serrano? While you're doing that, after Mr. Don Schrader, Mr. Alvarez, followed by Matt Schmader.
Well, that's good evening, Madam Clarissa, members of the council, members of the city. I'm here to support the stamp and the balloon fiesta. Just to give you a little idea, this will be like a fractal balloon you know, and I do have a project with balloons, you know, we still have the same technology for 100 years. And in 1938, the Heisenberg, which was the processor of the Zeppelin, they did a postcard, you know, to support the technology. And they with that postcard, they were actually able to generate enough money to keep the Zeppelin blowing up. And right now, I have a protocol for a balloon. My balloon is almost like this. It's a fractal balloon, but it's actually a real fractal, not a picture of a fractal. And it has the capacity to rotate, generate energy, and I'm kind of, you know, using our lungs technology, anatomy of the human body, and I'm applying it to the balloon technology. So instead of having the NASA 20-acre balloon, I can come out with the same technology, but with only 1 acre. You know, we're talking big money, big technology. I can get the same balloon with the same gases. I can get into space and turn that helium into frozen helium. And with that frozen helium, I can throw a laser from space. So this is good news for our Air Force. I'm working with them. I'm working with our Balloon Fiesta. And maybe, you know, you guys can pitch a little bit from those stamps to balloon technology. Because it's coming up. It's the Andron project. You can look at it for fundraising. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Serrano. Mr. Schrader?
Why do many people take far better care of their car, their house, their pets than their body? Why do people eat processed crap in packages, bottles, and cans and expect to be healthy? Would we pour diesel fuel into a gasoline engine and expect it to run? Diabetes is now the #1 killer in Mexico. Processed crap has flooded Mexico. In 1991, Mexico had 1 Walmart, now 2,000 Walmarts. The best foods for health are raw, living, whole plant foods, preferably organic. Nothing with added sugar. I stopped cooking my food 20 years ago. Cooking food destroys most of the nutrients. If you cook a seed, then plant it, it will never grow. Cooked food is dead. Slow poison. We need living food. Human cancer cells placed on cooked food grow and multiply. Human cancer cells placed on raw, living food die. If I had eaten healthy when I was a kid and through my 30s, as I eat now at 73, I might have kept most or all of my teeth, learned from my many mistakes. I refuse to pay junk food companies to make me sick and to kill me. I refuse to be their fool. I want great health until I die. Many years ago, I was addicted to sugar and cooked crap. But with the help of many people, I woke up. I changed.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Followed by Matt Schmader, followed by Downey X.
I would like to talk about the history of the United States. We've gone to a lot of other countries to take care of their problems, and we've lost a lot of our family members in war. And today, we're having a lot of problems with the border in Mexico. Families that live here got families in Mexico, and they don't have to worry about the people that are highway robbers, because the same government officials are stealing their cars, they're stealing their properties, and they're charging them $8,000 to $5,000 to get their vehicles back. This has happened to quite a few people that I know. One family it happened to last week. I even called the city council people that are in Juarez, and there's very little bit that they can do about it. Why do we let Mexico step all over us? 7 years ago, they found 30 dead women in Juarez, and 3 of our city officials went over there to find out and see if the women are all Mexican or if they're American citizens. Those officials were killed that night, and nothing was done. The situation was dropped, and nobody was arrested for the deaths of these American officials. When is it all gonna stop? You know, we've lost a lot of people in different wars, not only Vietnam or the first war or second war, but also Panama, Grenada, and Iraq. And yet we're letting a little country like Mexico step all over us. When is all these problems gonna stop? There's been more than 24 families that have had the same problem. Some families that went to Cancun got raped and they got robbed, and nothing got done. When are we gonna wake up, people, and do something about it? I'm tired, I'm frustrated, and I'm worn out.
Thank you, Mr. Alvarez. Matt Smaders, followed by Downey X, followed by John Friesinger.
Madam President and councilors, I come bearing some good news tonight, and that's no fooling. I'm Dr. Matt Schmader. I'm a professor at UNM Department of Anthropology, and up until the end of 2016, I had the pleasure of being the superintendent at the Open Space Division after I retired. About 5 years ago, a group of us met at the Convention Center with the Society for American Archaeology to try and bring an annual conference here back to the Southwest. And about a year later, we learned that Albuquerque had won out over Tucson to bring the 2019 convention here to Albuquerque. We won due to our excellent facilities, the great people, and our great history. And in fact, Albuquerque is one of the oldest cities in the Western Hemisphere at over 12,000 years old. We're also home to Petroglyph National Monument and more than a few other state and national monuments. We're close to Santa Fe, but most important, our relationship to our indigenous communities, to the vibrant Pueblo communities in the area, and our cultural diversity helped us win out. And a lot of our heritage is preserved in the open space system and in our parks. So why is the Society for American Archaeology a big deal? These conventions are usually held in big cities like San Francisco, Vancouver, Austin. But on April the 10th through the 14th, next week, this will be one of the largest conventions ever to come to Albuquerque. Due to our setting, affordability, and appeal, there will be over 5,000 people attending from all around the world. Every continent will be represented, presenting thousands of papers and posters over a 4-day period. It's going to bring a lot of positive attention to our city, great positive economic impact of several millions of dollars, several hundreds of thousands of dollars just in beer sales alone. So I wanted to let the council know that this is something really to be proud of and to look forward. Don't try to eat downtown next week because all the restaurants and everything will be completely full. So I thank you for your time.
That's awesome. Thank you. Next, we have Downey X, followed by John Friesinger, followed by Cece Goody.
It's quite obvious that one of your councilmen has a delusional fixation on speeding. He wants to milk the taxpayers for $70,000 for some corny safe zone downtown where there is no danger. The city council must be running out of ways to stiff the taxpayer. Your councilman now wants to make Indian School Road a single-lane street to slow down speeders. What you call speeding, a traffic engineer would call flow. Hey, I didn't know the city council had a civil engineer on it. Indian School Road was once a single-lane street, but due to the Northeast Heights' rapid growth, the 2 lanes was absolutely necessary. The project was completed in 2007. Not only will this proposal slow the traffic down, it will bring the traffic to a complete standstill. Area residents will have to adjust their drive times in lieu of nightmarish traffic gridlock. We see your single-lane stupidity play out every day on Central and Zuni. It is making commutes longer, frustrating drivers, and making the streets more dangerous. What is it about the single-lane failures that you guys just don't get? You're apparently unable to look at yourself and see that your decisions are sometimes wrong and destructive. But an outsider, as we see, we are the victims of your incompetent leadership. Your old 20th century misguided, feeble-minded thinking will only take our city backwards. You seem to think entirely about your own short-term self-interest, and you care little about the citizens of Albuquerque or their long-term well-being.
Councilor Benton.
Thank you, Madam President.
Hey.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to be very clear, Channel 13 ran a story saying I was pushing for a plan on Indian School Road. That was completely inaccurate. I wrote to them with that correction that it was not accurate, and they apparently decided not to change their story. So that's that, which apparently this gentleman was referring to. So just to be very clear, since accusations were made, the neighborhoods adjoining this segment of Indian School Road have approached me over the years and said there are problems with that roadway, that it's too speedy, it's hard to cross, it has bike lanes, but it's a very high-speed roadway. So we commissioned, with the help of the Municipal Development Department, did commission a professional analysis of the roadway, which made certain recommendations. I've never said that that I would support implementing those recommendations until the neighborhoods surrounding that corridor had weighed in. So we're in the process of doing that, and nothing is going to be done on that corridor without the support of the neighborhoods and the neighbors who live along the corridor. So it's very fine to say that we should be in the 21st century, not the 20th. Apparently that means that we're free to drive and speed through people's neighborhoods that we don't live in. But I don't buy into that. So that's what that was about. This council, I appreciate the support for us creating a downtown safe zone, and I think that's going to be for the benefit of everyone downtown. I appreciate the administration's support of that as well.
Councilor Gibson.
Yes, thank you, Madam President. So I just want to tell you just a real short little synopsis of the experience that we've had in taking the street from 4 lanes down to 2 lanes, one in each direction, and putting a left-hand turn lane in the middle. That was San Pedro, roughly between Louisiana and I-40. The traffic counts on that street were lower before we started this construction, restriping rather. They were a lower count than what it was on San Pedro north of Manal that had already, had already necked down to 2 lanes. So, and not only that, but we had 3 times the number of traffic accidents on that section of San Pedro between Lomas and I-40, 3 times the average of Bernalillo County, and most of those were rear-end collisions. So what we have now is we do have traffic going much more slowly. We have far fewer traffic accidents, and we have made that stretch of San Pedro more comfortable. The right way to say it is more comfortable to cross. It's actually safer for the school kids in 2 different schools. But we're not supposed to say safer. But it is. It is. I'll say it. Sue me. Sue me. I don't care. So that was really that was a good project, and I stand by that project. And all of the businesses along there love it. So there's that.
Thank you, Councilor Gibson. Our next speaker is John Freisinger. Is that right?
It's Freisinger, thank you.
Freisinger. Thank you.
City Councilors, my name is John Freisinger, and I'm the Executive Director of Innovate ABQ. I'm here really tonight just to encourage you as you go through your discussions of the budget for capital improvements to positively consider the continuation of the funding for the Arno Marble Drainage Pump Station. As a developer in the area, we rely very heavily on out-of-state investment. Many of our investors from out of state will do their due diligence on our city, especially our site. We're conveniently located right between the Central Underpass and the Tejeras Underpass. And two of the things that come up with their due diligence is, A, we are a brownfield site, which means we're a blighted area, and second, that we sit in a floodplain. Our current floodplain mitigation risk strategy includes the consideration of the Arno Marble Drainage Pump Station. And I think that a delay in the funding of that pump station could possibly negatively impact some of our ability to attract funding to our investments in that portion of Albuquerque. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Cece Gudai, followed by Colleen Aycock, followed by Tiara Bernheisel.
Thank you, City Councilors. Did you know that it costs employers $160 billion a year due to the lack of productivity because employees are forced to show up to work ill because they lack the paid sick leave benefits? This is actually twice as much as it would cost to actually cover the workers. When workers have paid sick leaves, they need less time to recover when they fall ill than workers without this benefit. This study was conducted, it's a nationwide study conducted in 2009, and it was updated in 2015. In Albuquerque, 43% of workers lack access to this benefit. That translates into a total of 107,000 workers. We need a bill that covers all workers in Albuquerque in order to make a real difference. Councilor Pat Davis is sponsoring a paid sick leave bill for the city, and I ask you to support the version of the bill that covers all workers. And I know this is coming up within the next couple of weeks. So thank you.
Thank you. Colleen Aycock, followed by Tara Bernheisel.
Madam President and councilors, this evening when I walked up to sign up for the general comment, I was told that I couldn't comment. No one even asked me my name. I asked why. They got Chris Melendrez. Are you Chris? I've never met Chris Melendrez, but he was supposed to come down and explain when I asked why I couldn't and what the ruling was that would not allow me to speak. And I spent a lot of time on a one-page handout for 2 minutes, and I'd like to be able to at least distribute that even if I can't speak on it. So can I do that?
Let me refer you to Mr. Chris Melendrez.
Thank you, Madam President. Ms. Aycock and I think, spent some time on the phone last week, at which time I explained that that these appeals are closed record matters at this time. The IDO and the council rules are pretty clear that the council cannot accept new evidence at this time, and the way that the council's process, and that would preclude the council from accepting any written material that would be relative to the merits of any of the appeals that are before you tonight. In addition, the council does not take public comment on appeals at all. That is for the Environmental Planning Commission to take public comment on. Once that commentary is complete, that forms part of the record that you need to use to make your decision from. The accept or reject hearing that you will hear tonight on these two appeals, you don't take comment from anybody, not even the parties to the appeal. In the event that you feel like you do need to hear from the parties, then that would be your opportunity to reject the recommendation for disposition that's before you tonight.
I asked him to point out the rule or recommendation or regulation that points to that, and he could not. I feel like I should be able to speak if he can't find the rule.
Mr. Aguilar.
Thank you, Madam President. The rule would be Section 8, B6 of the Council Rules of Procedure that govern the taking of evidence during appeals process. So Mr. Melendrez is exactly correct about if that material or comments relating to that appeal cannot be made before this council. However, any other matters that are unrelated to the appeal, Ms. Aycock can comment on. Thank you.
Are you taking that rule from the IDO or the EPC? I want to know where it's from.
It was from the city council rules, correct, Mr. Aguilar?
Madam President, that is correct.
I don't think so.
Thank you. So we're going to, if you would like to speak.
So I
now
have another
during public
comment that was.
Well, we're going to have to start the timer if you're going
Thank you.
to.
This is unrelated.
Unrelated. Thank you.
Thank you. So the comment that was made about Zuni, it was a problem because, as you said, Councilor Gibson, there was a left turn on San Pedro. So that did allow the flow. But on Zuni, there's no middle left turn lane. So 4 lanes were taken down to 2. And that is a terrible impediment. And it's not that people are speeding, but the problem is that the city cut that down, that road down, east-west, when they were tearing up Central. So it was a terrible, terrible problem. And so my recommendation is just in the future that if you are taking any lanes from 4 to 2, that you consider a middle lane for a left turn lane that would not impede the traffic. And so I would also like to use the remainder of my time talking about boxing, since I can't talk about anything else. And, well, you won't get to hear about boxing. Thank you. There are no PAL gyms, official PAL gyms in the city of Albuquerque. And every time we bring any of our Golden Gloves to Albuquerque, we can take them to any other city in New Mexico. And we're provided gyms, we were provided rings, we're provided whatever. I know we've used a community center in the past, but Sandy Pino is deceased now. We have to pay, and we have to pay for a ring. That's $400. We can't afford that for the Golden Gloves. We need a facility. Thank you.
Thank you. I agree. And Mr. Aguilar, I think you wanted to add something. Please, there's no applause. Councilor Benton.
Thank you, Madam President. Just to clarify, the section of the council rules that governs the presentation of evidence is Section 5, and Section 6 deals with communications with the councilor specifically for everyone's reference. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Benton.
Thank you, Madam President. And yeah, just to be clear, it's a little bit confusing for everyone and sometimes even for us, but when we sit on a land use appeal, we're sitting as a quasi-judicial body, and these rules apply because of that, where we take the hat off of the representative of the city council for your respective neighborhoods, and we put on the hat of a quasi-judicial body that's hearing appeal based on actual written law and the merits of the cases, and that's why we can't hear this type of commentary prior to hearing the case. I did want to follow up on the lady's question about the gyms. Isn't the South San Jose Community Center, now known as Jack Candelaria Community Center, largely dedicated to boxing, and is that not available to the Golden Gloves? Is there someone here from Family Community Services or Parks? Mr. Martinez, I think.
Good evening, Madam President, Councilor Benton. Jess Martinez, Acting Deputy Director for the Department of Family Community Services. Yes, Jack Candelaria Community Center is probably 75% dedicated to boxing. To my knowledge, nobody from Golden Gloves has reached out to us to utilize the facility.
And Madam President, I do remember when Police Athletic League had a gym on Central and so forth, but you know, hey, some people love boxing, some people think it's brutal. I kind of feel both. You know, we have a great history of boxing in this community and some great boxers that came out of Albuquerque we all know about. Johnny Tapia, Bobby Foster, just wonderful boxers. But, you know, I've been involved just as an architect over the years with that center, and it was always kind of inspiring to see the work that was done there with a lot of kids. So, yeah, and that's happens to be in District 2. So, if we can help in some way with that, or help people find out how to apply to use it, then
Sure.
I'd like to help.
Absolutely. Madam President, Councilor Benton, absolutely. We do have 3 rings at Jack Candelaria, and to utilize the facility, it is free.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Councilor Harris.
Yes, and Mr. Martinez, before you run away, one thing, we have the operating budget coming up, and maybe we could put a line in there that you could do a study on the needs of the boxing and the benefits and so forth and all that sort of thing, so that in the 2021 bond cycle, maybe we could start looking at it.
Madam President, Councilor Harris, that's a good idea.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Councilor Borrego.
Thank you, Madam President. We would be remiss if we didn't remember Holly Holm.
Or Danny Romero. So next speaker is Tara Bernheisel.
Yes. Hi, my name is Tara, and I'm here because I've been dealing with APD and a custody issue for a long time. And I have a TBI, and I have not received any services. I've had it for the past 15 years. And I've been being misdiagnosed, and there's nowhere I can get help. And I've asked the mayor's office, and they keep referring me to all these places, and I just get the runaround. I've been on the housing list for 3 years, and I just keep I'm disabled. I get SSI, SSDI, and my Medicare and my Medicaid is not being accepted anywhere because I have both. I was recently hit with a slingshot in a rock at Louisiana and Central waiting for the bus, and I have every right to feel safe at the bus. Then I was dragged out of the hospital, and the police said that everything was basically justified by their police report. And there's video of it. I was assaulted by security, and now I have internal injuries. I'm afraid to go to the hospital because the doctor told me I need to go in after getting a procedure done. She saw things, and I am scared to go back to the hospital and be treated that way. And she said it was very important that I go. I need help with mental health, and I would like suggestions on what to do. I've been referred to family services for the city, and nobody's responded to me. Everybody's making me go back and forth, and this is very difficult. With a TBI, it's very hard to do things, and people like APD don't understand that. And they haven't been helping me except trying to take me to the hospital, and we've been to court for this, and there's nothing the hospital can do about this. It's about my situation.
Thank you, and I think we have someone coming up here, so.
That gentleman is from Family and Community Services, and he can help you so that he can help you right here today if you want to speak with him. He's from Family and Community, and you don't have to work with the police
I've
today.
been getting in a lot of trouble, and I'm tired of being arrested all the time.
He can make decisions for you if you want to talk to him.
Okay.
He's a good person to go out in the hall and talk to right now.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Councilor Davis. Our next speaker is Judy Young, followed by Tad Naminsky. And our final speaker this evening is Connie Vigil. Judy Young? Oh, sorry.
My name is Judy Young, and I'm from the Southeast, and I wanted to talk a little bit about communication. You've heard from the community policing tonight and how successful that program has been, And it's been successful because of relationships within the community. And that's what the officers do. And we've had a very, very successful relationship with the policemen for community policing in our area. So, and as a former teacher, the interactive programs that I've dealt with, it's all about relationship. So one of the things that I believe that Colleen and I are asking is, why is it that we cannot communicate with you about the most important thing happening in our community? We can communicate with policemen, we can communicate with one another, but, you know, as a family marriage therapist, if I brought in a couple and I said, now, you can communicate about everything except what's a problem. Because if you disagree about something, I just don't want you to communicate about that. But anything that you agree on, then you can talk about that. I don't believe that anything would be accomplished. So on March the 6th, 2017, when Councilor Harris proposed that there be no public comment on projects for this city, that was integrated into the rules and procedure, and that's why we cannot contact you regarding any of these issues. They're the most important issues of the city. And I know that you would like to hear from us, but we can't talk to you. We are prohibited from doing that. If we did that in any other form, whether it be a classroom, whether it be within a family, whether it be within counseling, we would get nowhere. So we're asking.
Thank you, Ms. Young.
Thank you.
Mr. Aguilar, or no? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Our final no, that's not accurate. Tad Naminsky, followed by our final speaker, Connie Vigil.
Thank you. My name is Ted Naminsky. Well, what is very important, some lawyers did hear me. DWI class lawsuit is on the way. Okay, now, before I get much, lose it, Laurent Rael. I believe that Laurent Rael, who is responsible for all directors of each department in the city, he is unresponding. I mentioned to him several times. He don't talk. And the department, especially transit, no one responding. When you make a call to an administrative office at transit, you cannot get anyone not available. That's what kind of job they're doing. Well, this morning, right here, movies, industry, block, that's track 630. I have to use it to.
Mr. Naminsky, can you forward your comments?
I have to use it, excuse me?
Forward your comments to me. Direct them at me, please.
Well, I have to use it, bus to Valley Pool at 6:30. Well, I noticed Fruit and 5th Street, a trailer blocking stop sign. Well, I walked by to right here, to City Hall. And that time, I spoke to bus driver. He said, well, I asked him, aren't you going to stop? This is no sign here. I said, you don't see it because trailer blocking. That's where we're at. So many problems with blocking downtown. I'm sick and tired. Anyway, that's so much to say. Now, let me go to, Sanchez. Well, I know why he's supporting APD. His son and son-in-law. Can I finish?
No, Mr. Naminsky.
He involved
your
that in
time
an
is-
accident.
your time
No
is
report,
over.
nothing.
Thank you. Ms. Connie Vigil.
Members of the council, President Pena. I'm here as a newly elected board member of Wells Park Community. I applaud your neighborhood, Ms. Pena, for having a great commercial area. Unfortunately, Wells is not, and I'm here to tell you about the events of the last month. We have had 2 assaults on individual residents in our neighborhood by homeless people. We had a fire on 4th Street by a long-standing 50-year-old company, and it was reported as a grass fire or an accidental fire. It was not accidental. It was due to retaliation of homeless people camping in our properties, in our alleys, in any vacant lot that they can get to. I want to go forward on a positive. I want to address City Mayor Aguilar and also our president, our head of planning. They both met with us, David Campbell. We appreciate that. The bottom line is Coronado Park is our pickup spot. We have no park. Our park today was filled with wet blankets drying out. I'd like to address that to Councilman Benton. What does it take for our neighborhood to have the same amenities as any other neighborhood? What does it take for our city to recognize that the zoning ordinances that make private property owners responsible for camps and any other extraneous trash, so to speak, is not our responsibility? And I do appreciate the efforts of the city, and I would appreciate a recognition of our neighborhood as blighted due to the fact that Coronado Park is the pickup spot for the homeless shelter. Thank you.
Councillor Benton.
Madam Chair, since I was addressed personally there, I did address the meeting of the Wells Park Neighborhood Association and covered all of these issues just last week and was very thorough about my thinking with regard to our parks. Coronado Park is a problem. And Coronado Park is a problem in part because of history of various actors, including the city, including including many people who take it upon themselves to feed people in the parks without any kind of coordinated effort. That is a real problem. And I know Mr. Aguilar knows that we've had, and preceding his time, we've had multiple meetings about what the city's authorities are and what rights exist for not just folks who are suffering from homelessness, but for everyone to have the right to use a park. And we've also, Director Simons here, all sorts of people who we discuss this with over the years, and I've always taken it very seriously. As a city councilor, I can't direct what occurs on those parks, but as a city councilor, I have advocated for better health, enforcement of health regulations in these parks for people who choose to conduct these kind of activities, well-meaning, but without proper health precautions, such as porta potties and hand washing stations and things of that sort. So I continue to work closely with the Neighborhood Association, and I think other folks from the Neighborhood Association know that that's the case. So just wanted to defend, not defend really, just to explain all of the things we're constantly trying to do about this very difficult problem here, and both at Coronado Park and other parks, and of course also been working with the neighborhoods to build a new park at Wells Park that could be a much more controlled situation than one exists at Coronado.
Thank you, Councillor. We are now on item 11, announcements. Councillor Harris.
Thank you, Madam President. There will be a Finance and Government Operations Committee meeting on Monday, April 8th at 5 p.m. in the Council Committee Room on the 9th floor.
Councillor Benton.
Thank you, Madam President. There will be a Land Use Planning and Zoning Committee meeting on Wednesday, April 10th at 5 p.m. in the Council Committee Room on the 9th floor.
We are now on item 12, public hearings. AC 19-1, William Sabatini appeals the zoning hearing examiner's decision. Mr. Melendres, can you please explain?
Thank you, Madam President. This is an appeal of the decision by the city's zoning and hearing examiner. The issue is whether or not an automobile sales lot should be conditionally permitted at the southwest corner of Candelaria and Edith. The zoning hearing examiner determined that that use should be conditionally approved. However, the Stronghurst Improvement Association, which neighborhood immediately abuts this site, appealed the decision of the ZHE to the City Council. The council referred this matter to its land use hearing officer, who recommends that the appeal be denied and that the zoning hearing examiner be affirmed. Subject site is approximately 1/2 acre. It does directly abut residential property within the Stronghurst neighborhood. However, ultimately, the LUHO determined that the zoning hearing examiner had a rational reason to approve the conditional use based on the requirements of the IDO. Tonight, you're considering whether or not to accept or reject the recommendation of your land use hearing officer. If you have questions, I'll do my best to try to address those questions based only on the information in the record. If you feel like you need more information about this particular matter, you can reject the land use hearing officer's recommendation, and it will be scheduled for a full hearing at a later date.
Thank you, Mr. Melendez. Councilor Benton.
Thank you, Madam President. If you would, just, I do think there is some initial decisions and findings, I suppose it was, that were made by the ZHE with regard to this, and concerned about whether those findings were accompanied by conditions of approval. Secondly, I wanted you to just briefly speak, just for the councilor's benefit, about what MXL zoning is intended for, I guess, if you will, because there was a little discussion about what it's intended for. MXL zoning, according to the ZHE's, I believe, own findings, is that MXL is for neighborhood scale convenience shopping needs. This is a car lot. I guess there might be some question as to whether that's a convenient shopping need. But could you speak to just those two things for the time being?
Sure, Madam President, Councilor Benton. The zoning hearing examiner did adopt 47 findings relative to this particular matter. One of those findings is, as you stated, that's finding number 9, that the MXL zone district is to provide neighborhood scale convenience shopping needs primarily at corners and collector intersections. Auto sales are contemplated within MXL, however, they are conditional, so they should be approved only in the event that under the circumstances it can be shown that they're appropriate. It's clear that they're not appropriate in every instance, and so to the extent that there are potential harms that could flow from a use, that is the purpose of the conditional use permit. The ZHE did make those several findings. He did include only one condition of approval that is a reference to some zoning code sections that deal with screening and buffering of these types of uses.
And there were, I mean, the buffering of the use if it were approved as a conditional use.
Madam President, Councilor Benton, that's correct. The conditions don't speak to the propriety of the use. They speak to if the use goes there, then as an added mitigation factor, this buffering may be appropriate.
And so we very intentionally, as a city and as the council and the folks who worked on this this particular zone, which is a successor to other zone, I think probably C1, if I had to guess, but I didn't see that in the documents, but I would imagine C1, appropriately, the ZHE described that correctly as for what would seem to be neighborhood convenience shopping and something that you would, to me, that would mean that you're going fairly often to conveniently shop. So I do have some concerns about this and the fact that these, even with regard to these buffering protections and so forth, that this was a finding and not even a condition, if I'm correct.
Madam President and Councilor Benton, yeah, I actually, looking at the notice of decision from the ZHE did reference some of this within the findings. However, there is a subsection labeled conditions under which he did actually list a reference to a couple of zoning code sections that would relate to the screening.
Right, but again, only if it were agreed that this is an appropriate conditional use would it matter whether you needed that buffering or not. So, councilors, I'm going to move to reject the LUHO's recommendation and hear this for the full council.
There's a motion and a second. Counselor Gibson. Counselor Harris.
I think I'll allow this to be heard, but I just want to be clear that I'm not necessarily agreeing that the LUHO was wrong. So I just want to be clear that it's just allowing counselors, constituents to be heard on this particular situation, because it seems like it's fairly fact-intensive, and there are some questions about what the ZHE actually did on a couple of those things.
So hearing no other questions, there was a motion, a second on the floor to reject the LUHO's recommendations of AC 19-1. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes. No applause, thank you.
Chair, I'm sorry.
Councilor Betten.
Could we just hear from Chris what we can expect on timing on hearing this?
Madam President, Councilor Benton, this will be placed on the agenda for the April 15th meeting. At that time, the parties to the appeal will be welcome to present their cases. There are restrictions under the IDO about new evidence, so should restrict those presentations to discussion about how the decision below aired as opposed to presenting new information.
Thank you.
Thank you. So with that, we will move on to AC 19-2. Judy Young, on behalf of other property owners, appeals a decision of the EPC.
Madam President, I'm going to recuse myself.
Madam President,
Councilor Gibson.
I also must recuse myself.
So Councilor Harris and Councilor Gibson are recusing themselves from this. Mr. Melendez, can you please explain the appeal?
Thank you, Madam President. AC 19-2 is an appeal of a site plan for a community center at Singing Arrow Park within the city. The applicant for this is the City Parks and Recreation Department. The issue in this appeal is whether or not that site plan is appropriate under the IDO. It was appealed by an area resident that the EPC approved the site plan, and Ms. Judy Young, the appellant, appealed that decision. The council referred this matter to its land use hearing officer, who recommends that the appeal be denied and that the EPC be affirmed. Essentially, the LUHO determined that the appeal does not actually challenge the specific findings of the EPC. In other words, it made several findings that the site plan was appropriate at this location. But instead, to the extent the appellant raises concerns about the EPC's process, as opposed to its findings, the LUHO also determined that there were no procedural errors committed by the EPC. Accordingly, the LUHO recommends that the appeal be denied and that the EPC be affirmed and the site plan be approved. Again, if you have questions, I'll do my best to try to address those based only on the material in the record. If you feel like you need more information, you may reject the LUHO's recommendation, in which case this will be scheduled for a full hearing at a later time.
So are there any questions? Hearing none, do we have any motions? Councilor Jones?
Thank you, Madam President. I move that we approve the LUHO's recommendations and findings.
There's a motion, a second for approval. No questions, comments? All those in favor say yes. Yes. Opposed, no. Motion passes. So with that, we are on approvals. Do we want to take a break and then, or go through the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, yes, and yes.
So we will break for our dinner break now. Thank you.
Good idea.